Thank you. Call to order this meeting of Ashcroft Council for Monday, July 27th, 2026. Mayor and Council wish to acknowledge the meeting today is held within the traditional territory of the Unkiqutsin people. At this time, I'd just like to acknowledge our friends and neighbors in the village of Clinton and surrounding TNRD areas who are facing a truly terrible time right now. Our heart goes out to them, and I know that the people of Ashcroft are supporting and offering support as best they can. So I'm sure there will be more requests for such support in the days and weeks to come. And I know that the residents of Ashcroft will rise to that challenge as they have so many times in the past. Are there any additions to or deletions from the agenda?
Yes, Your Worship. I have one item. It is on your desks is a letter from Ashcroft Criminal Jessica Williams offering a collaboration during the week of the safety rail.
Great, a motion to approve the agenda as Davenport. Opposed? Minutes of the regular meeting council held on Monday, June 22nd. Councillor Clement?
I move that the meetings from Monday, June 22nd be adopted.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Anstead. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Minutes of the special council meeting held on Friday, July the 10th. Councillor Davenport?
Minutes of the special meeting council held Friday, July 10th, 2026 be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Clement. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Delegations. We have no delegations this evening. Public input. We have a couple of people here in the gallery. Leith, do we have anyone online, first of all? Questions or comments from the gallery? Okay. We move on to bylaws policies and note that the OCP and the zoning bylaw have been sent for time that we will hear back.
It's the third. Some of our agencies have asked for a bit of an extension. So we anticipate to be planning some more and having some second reading before council, hopefully at the next meeting. We did get comment back today from the TNRD, from the planning department, and in regards to the regional context statement, that needs to come before the board for approval. So the earliest that board report can go to TNRD board is likely September 3rd. So we're going to be a little bit delayed longer than we anticipated. We hope to have adopted both bylaws well before September, but it looks like we might be going into late mid-September before we get adoption.
Yep. All right. 6.1, request for decision. We have the annual report presentation.
Yes, Your Worship, it is my pleasure to present to you the Village of Ashcroft's 2025 annual report. This year we've taken a different approach. Rather than presenting a traditional departmental report, the annual report tells the story of how council strategic our decisions, our investments, and accomplishments throughout 2025. We're asking council to receive the report. Next slide, please. Thank you. I guess I better move mine as well. So 2025 year was a year of steady progress as council advanced key priorities. We secured significant funding and continued investing in infrastructure, services, and planning that will benefit Ashcroft for now and for years to come. Rather than reviewing projects, as I said, department by department, I'd like to highlight them through the lens of Council's strategic plan, which is in a snapshot before you. The strategic plan shows how each initiative contributed to one or more of these 7 priorities. So our 7 priorities, as you can see, are affecting your governmental relations, enhancing parks, rec, arts, culture, amenities, safety and protection, managing infrastructure and assets, community planning, natural built environment, fiscal resiliency, and excellence in service. And this is the strategic plan that's been guiding us for most of this this term, and we are really proudly wrapping it up. So investing in critical infrastructure. Reliable infrastructure often goes unnoticed until something fails. When you flush a toilet and it doesn't go away, that's when people are calling. In 2025, Council continued investing in systems that quietly kept our community running while every day while preparing for future growth. For instance, we did Lift Station 1, we implemented a water metering program, and we purchased a new tender. Those are our three majors, along many other small ones. The water metering is going to advance our water system, our emergency response capabilities. Our tender is, that was just a smart decision. Our old tender is, we've retained it in moving forward, but this one will get to the incident much quicker. And we continue to work forward towards building the second reservoir in North Ashcroft. We completed the land acquisition in 2025 and have submitted our funding application to the Build Strong Communities Fund, in which we should hear back here in the I believe this week we should hear whether we've been approved for funding or not. Moving on to the next slide, keeping Ashcroft safe, managing safety and protection. Protecting a community isn't just about responding to emergencies, it's about preparing before they happen, which has been a focus throughout 2025. Council focused on building a safer, more resilient Ashcroft by strengthening partnerships and improving our preparedness. And we did that specifically through launching our Fire Smart program, and granted, we were only able to do a lot of public engagement, but the coordinator did that very well. We did a lot of emergency preparedness work. We received and deployed our EOC, or started learning about deployment of our EOC, all kinds of training for EOC emergency operations centers, and how to manage those, how to respond, and as we're living in that moment right now, dealing with emergencies and wildfires to the north and to the south of us. So I believe our staff is much more prepared to activate if an emergency were to arise. And we're working on expanding our regional partnerships. Creating places to connect our arts, enhancing our parks, arts, and culture. Strong communities are built through connection. In 2025, Council continued investing in the places, programs, and long-term planning that bring people together while creating even better opportunities for tomorrow. The picture of the pool was taken at our community barbecue last year, as is the other two images, which really tells a story of community connecting in one of our recreational places. We're planning for tomorrow in 2025. We did a lot of the legwork and the planning and the grant applications for our Mesa Park funding and project that we completed this year. Grant opening to be soon. We did a lot of connecting through our community. Our AAC, our accessibility committees, looking at access, connectivity, those kinds of walking paths, all of those things. Healthy recreation is just a fun thing. We keep our arena and our pool and our recreational facilities operational and continue to enhance programs. And we want to have welcoming spaces. And the key to making all that happen is making every dollar count. Getting grant funding so that it's not solely on the burden of our taxpayers. So strong financial stewardship isn't just about balancing budgets, it's about maximizing every taxpayer dollar while investing in Ashcroft's future. Some of the highlights this year: maintaining a debt-free position. We secured significant grant funding. We continued long-term financial planning, and we leveraged grant funding to reduce the burden on our taxpayers. Building for Ashcroft's tomorrow. This is a part of our community planning and natural built environment. Our highlights there are our zoning and OCP bylaws. So planning is about more than just land use. It's about creating a clear vision for the future. In 2025, Council continued laying the foundation for responsible growth while protecting the heritage, character, and the values that define Ashcroft. And as we spoke at the beginning of the meeting or just previous to this, our OCP and zoning have been sent for referral. It really tells a new story. We've embedded fire smart principles into both bylaws, looking at protecting our community for the future. And also allowing, enabling growth. So growing opportunities together, this is a part of our investment advocacy. Building strong community requires strong partnerships. Throughout 2025, Council continued advocating for Ashcroft, strengthening relationships and creating opportunities that support economy and our future. And the image is MP Frank Caputo coming for a visit and having a one-to-one with Council and just trying to understand our needs and what he can advocate for on our behalf at higher levels of government. So again, building those strong partnerships, not just with our MP, with our MLA, with our neighboring communities, with First Nations communities, and our regional district. Working together to serve our communities, our excellence in service delivery. Excellent municipal services begin with great people. Behind every project we've shared today is a dedicated team committed to delivering reliable, responsive service to our residents every day. I believe we all come to work and Council shows up at meetings and in your community wanting to do the best for our residents and for the community and move us forward. So Ashcroft may be a small community, but this report demonstrates that we can be achieved with a clear vision, responsible leadership, and a commitment to working together. I'm incredibly proud of what Council staff, volunteers, community partners, and residents have accomplished in 2025. Together, we're building a stronger, more resilient Ashcroft for generations to come. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
If I didn't already live here, I'd want to live here.
Me too.
But and the report looks really awesome. Thank you. Compared to what they used to look like, very clinical, very.
The report itself is the design of it. I have to give Margaret full credit. She is our InDesign expert. I don't have the time to learn the program, and she just does an amazing job putting it together.
All right. Does anyone have any questions, Councillor Tippett?
I'd just also like to point out that was a great synopsis, but that's not the entire report. So for people that want to come and get it, that was a synopsis by CAODEC. It is much more in depth and it's very colorful and it's available and it's, I've read it twice. It's a fantastic read. Thank you.
Thank you. So any other questions or comments? All right. Someone like to make a motion? Councillor Clement.
I'll move the Council endorse the Village of Ashcroft 2025 annual report is presented in accordance with Section 98 of the Community Charter.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Anstead. Any further discussion, questions, comments? Done for another year. Almost time to start thinking about 2026 annual report.
I know, right?
All right. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. 6.2 CFO report, name change for land titles. A little bit of housekeeping here. We do have a recommendation. Councillor Clement.
I'll move the Council approves the name change on village all-owned property from Village of Ashcroft to the Corporation of the Village of Ashcroft.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Tedford. Discussion? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 6.3 CFO report permissive tax exemption. We do have a.
As a resulting reduction in municipal tax revenue offset through reductions to council's discretionary budget allocations.
All right, thank you. Seconder? We have a seconder.
I'll second it.
Second for discussion. Thank you, Councillor Clement. All right. So the motion on the floor, just a reminder, is that the permissive tax exemption would be granted in full with the money to be taken from reductions in council's discretionary budget allocations. Discussion. Councillor Davenport, then Councillor Tifford.
I just need a clarification on number 2, what that actually would mean as well, like in layman's terms.
CFO Bala?
Thank you. So we'll have to, so basically we're adding $28,000 reduction in revenue from taxes. So offset that, we need to increase the next budgetary increase. We'd have to add 0.5 for that difference because we are getting in the operating side about 1.6. So half of that, $8,000, would be covering that tax shortfall.
So for every 1% that we raise taxes in the village of Ashcroft, so when we tell people your taxes are going up by 1%, we get about an additional $15,000 in change. So in order to make up this $7,593, we would have to have, we either, as the motion right now has it, we will take that money from elsewhere, so we will reduce funding for grants and aid, for example, for other groups. Or if we'd gone for option 2, that would have meant 0.5% tax increase for everyone in the village of Ashcroft next year.
I
Councillor
just
Tifford.
wanted both of them explained.
Yeah, Councillor Tifford?
To that point, and I would have gone for option number 2. I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that at this point, but a 0.5% increase on a 3.5% increase meant $25.63. Therefore, an additional 0.5% is $3.66 per household in the upcoming, let's say, in a different type of mindset, a different light. So $3.66 coming from each on things like sports teams do that, et cetera, perspective, I think.
Councillor Clement?
To further put it into perspective, our discretionary fund is shy of $12,000. So to use our discretionary fund means that we reduce our discretionary fund total to less than $4,000. That means our grant and aid budget is gone. That means we don't provide any bursaries and we don't provide any support for Canada Day or that.
Yeah.
Which has been there.
Yeah, Councillor Tifford?
Also, and I'm not sure that this is the point to speak of it, but if we look at option number 2, we could ask administration to produce a plebiscite for the community. Not a referendum, but we get to state the question, non-legally bounding, take it to the community and ask for their input about whether they would support or option 2 and follow from there. If I understand, we don't make a motion tonight without a caveat like that one. And I believe that that would be a great caveat for option number 2. We have 50% of the people in the village actually say something on the plebiscite, and 50% of those people say we're in favor of giving the Legion a break. Then the community has spoken. If we don't get those numbers, it's not a referendum, it still comes back to us for further discussion. At that point, we can say the village spoke, or we can say the Legion's position has been taken, this is prepared to give up the voluntary or the discretionary intake. Thank you. But that includes now changing things to add a plebiscite, and I'm not sure that I've actually spoken at the right time. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Have no experience of a plebiscite. I would be concerned about doing one in summertime because when you do anything like this, whether it's an AAP process, whether it's a referendum, whether it's anything like that, if you do it in the summertime, are people paying? So that would be a concern to me to do something like that in summertime, especially with everything else going on. People are a bit distracted.
And that was going to be my follow-up question to that, is how quickly, if this is happening before the provincial government how quickly do we have to make a decision before the provincial government in order to get the tax exemption for the Legion for next year?
CEO Dick?
It needs to be submitted to the province by October 31st to be effective for
Timeline with the change of government and UDCM in the middle.
And CFO Bella, saw your hand up.
Your Worship, I think the charter prescribes what, plebiscite can be and should be for, and typically it's not for small budgetary matters, it's for AAP process for a debt, which is prescribed. So I don't know whether there's a definition of plebiscite, but I think it's quite restrictive what we can do in terms of asking. Typically it's council who has to decide, if they elected you to decide, not going back to the public. Or, you can weigh and get feedback from your constituents, but unless it's a AAP for a loan or, usually we are not going back to the public to give opinions on matters. Council, unfortunately, is given the responsibility to decide on these matters. In this case, I wanted to highlight, if we're going to give 8,000, reduce our budget by 8,000, we have to source the funds. You're correct, our discretionary funding is quite limited, and it's has to find a source of funds to offset.
Councillor Clement?
Just looking through their financials, which are clearly not a full financial picture, because it's just the licensed premise. I'm just wondering where their current taxes are actually being paid from, because they're not on this thing. So I'm just wondering.
I mean, further to the thing, furthermore, I had that it would be conditional on receiving full sets of financials, where the utilities are being paid for, where the taxes are being paid for, where the other funds, what's happening, what is happening to the gaming fund, what is happening to the poppy fund. Like, we need a full disclosure, much in the sense that the province requires full disclosure when you do your society level statements in perspective to that. So the statements I saw were not complete. We would require complete statements, which is our standard before we give out any grant.
Something else that,
I'm just wondering if something that we could consider is just, now that we know what our two potential options are, if we could just kind of defer, we can talk to people and see if we can gauge some idea of what the public might want just informally. And maybe we can get their full financial picture so that we have a full understanding of that, so that we can kind of have a better picture of and the decision making.
okay,
But I'm just not sure.
No, thank you for asking that. Couple of things. I do believe we are elected to make these decisions. I would not want to go with a plebiscite or anything. Certainly there's no reason not to take a straw poll of people and talk to them outside the bakery or wherever and just say, hey, what do you think? But anything formal, it's also going to be a staff time. At this time when we're short staffed because of vacations. Also, two other things, we do not have to grant the entire 7,500 and change. We could say 2,000. So it's not an all or nothing proposition. And an option that we do have, following on from what Councillor Clement said, is that we want to avoid deferring, but we can postpone. We can postpone until, and we would give a date of, say, August 24th. And we would say we would postpone making a decision on this until the August 24th meeting. That would give time for the financials to come in, for council to think about the two options presented or other options. And it would also give us a chance, if we are so inclined, to go out and talk to people and see what their thoughts are on the matter. Now, if a motion to postpone until the August 24th meeting is made and seconded, then that stops discussion on what we're discussing right now, and we can only discuss whether we want to postpone it or not. And if we do vote to postpone, then this motion just dies on the table. So just putting that out there for everyone to mull over. Does anyone have any further discussion on this question? Councillor Davenport, and did I see your hand? And CFO Bell.
I just wanted to reiterate my concerns, which you just mentioned about staff time, that anything about a formal ask around town or website. And also, yes, the financials, we have to be complete. And I couldn't see making a decision tonight without it being complete.
Worship, the exemption is either exempt or not.
Pardon me?
So the exemption, it's not partial exemption for a property, is it exempt or is it
Oh, I thought,
non-exempt?
I'm sorry, I understood from
So
CAO.
I think that's how I understand the legislation.
Oh,
I
okay.
can review it again, but, so,
Apologies.
but we can, we can do a garden aid instead, which gives us the flexibility. It's how council wants to proceed. Exemption is not necessarily the only way we could proceed down this route. We could have a grant in aid for the amount you so desire to.
Councilor Pedro.
Are those properties deeded together? So then we could do tax exemption on one property and.
The main
and
property
the
is-
Senate and the skateboard park, which we're in use of, and then would that not give us the ability to grant a partial?
I broke it down in my report, but if you see, the main property with the building is where the most of the taxes are. So
That's
if we
true.
excluded that, you're not getting.
I did see it.
So I don't have it up yet on my.
But it could be substantial because the exemption for the Sanitaf property itself is
It's exempt.
That's already.
$1,073.54, and that's the Sanitaf property that they're already getting exemption on. So the skateboard park could be that or more.
Skateboard park, they're getting a grant in aid for the amount
Oh,
of
are they?
land.
Okay, thank
They're
you.
already in place, so.
Thank you for that clarification. And we are talking about one all. Okay, thanks.
Councilor Clement?
Where is your $7,000 number coming from then if the taxes is only $6,200 for the building?
It's all the different properties, less whatever grant we.
Oh, okay, so we're not giving a full a full grant in aid for the skateboard park, just a partial?
We are, yeah, based on the area.
Okay. Thank you.
Based on the area because it doesn't take up the entire deed of property. Thank you. Got it.
Thank you.
Those numbers make more sense. Thank you.
Councilor Clement?
I'd like to make a motion within a motion then, that we defer,
Postpone.
postpone,
Don't use the
sorry,
word.
postpone, I was like, what's the right word that you said?
Postpone.
Postpone to our August 24th meeting so that we have time to mull this over a little bit more, as well as hopefully
The motion then to postpone until, and also receive the requested financial documents by that date.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Councilor Davenport. All right, now we are just discussing whether we want to postpone it or not. We can't go back talking about the previous one. Dai.
Correct.
Okay, any discussion on that? All right, on the motion then to postpone to August 24th, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. Information, bylaw enforcement officer report for the second quarter. This is for information only. Does anyone have any questions or comments? See it?
At the last quarter, when the first quarterly report was presented, council asked for more details. Is this report more what you were looking for, just seeking some direction from council? If this, does this give you the information that you're seeking? By itemizing?
I think so.
Okay, perfect.
Anyone else?
It was definitely broken down more, and that's what we asked for.
Vehicles, trailers, and RVs, is this being parked in ways that are repeating sightlines and things like that, or?
Sometimes it's just on the boulevards. In the wintertime, they're supposed to be put away. They're not to be on the boulevard. In the spring, summer, it needs to be this side, but they can't impede sightlines.
And thank you for the action to whoever did it on the Buffalo State. which I drove right past without noticing that anything had been done, and then Alice Dirks and said, well, thank you for doing something today. I didn't even notice. Anyway, when I drove up,
Welcome. That was by law, and we were actually in the process of actually reporting, and he went on his tour throughout the community and said, they're here, they're cleaning it. It was a win. It was perfect.
Councillor Clement?
Just on an unrelated but similar, there's a tree that impedes your sightline as you're going down Government to turn up Ash, that you can't see the coming from like the Hollis Road thing, that I don't know if it's our tree or on a property, but it needs to be cut back because you have to kind of like stop at the crosswalk because that's when you see if there's a car coming. I don't know if you've noticed on your way home.
I don't know, but would you kindly send that to us in an email?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, see, yeah, he was see. Councillor Taylor?
May I speak to that for just a second? That is one of the invasive species.
It is an invasive, but I don't know if it's on our property
We've
or.
had a discussion about it before, and it's been an attempt to rectify the issue before, and we haven't been able to, but under our new agreement with TNRD, that was the first place I was gonna go.
Thank you. All right, no more questions on the bylaw enforcement officer report? All right, move on to action. Ashcroft Hub Society, request for Village of Ashcroft resolution in support of NDIT grant application. Councillor Clement, you don't need to read it.
It's not monetary.
No.
Do I need to? I just want to be. No voting. Okay.
So we do have a recommendation. I'll move the recommendation. Seconded by Councillor Davenport, thank you. Any discussion? Councillor Ruth?
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Village of Cache Creek proposal for intercommunity bylaw joint fine collection. We have a motion that council authorize the village to participate in the joint procurement process led by the Village of Cache Creek for the engagement of a debt collection agency to recover unpaid bylaw fines, and that council authorize the CAO to participate in the joint evaluation process, and following the selection of a preferred proponent, execute a service agreement on behalf of the Village of Ashcroft. Councillor Clement?
I'll move that recommendation. Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. Councillor Deborah, proponent, that's a fun one. Hard to say. All right, so, discussion. CEO Dick.
This was something that's come about from conversations amongst the CAOs and primarily the bylaw officer with CAOs. We, at the momentarily, we don't have any fines that are outstanding that we're looking to recover. However, some of the other communities are struggling a little bit with that. So in keeping it straightforward, and even CAO in Cache Creek thought it might be more cost effective for us to combine our resources and put out an RFP and find a consultant that would do it for all of us combined. It's more appealing than one tiny little community if they see a little bit of a revenue stream. As I understand it, the fee for service unless we are actually utilizing the consultant. So at this point, we're just looking to find someone. Generally, the general consensus seems to be that about 30% of the fine is what the fee is for the consultant to do the recovery. It keeps it all the same. Our bylaw officer would be going to the same person or the same company each time. The process would be the same, and it just streamlines things and makes it easier for him.
Okay. Councillor Jeffrey?
I've used them in the past. I used them, I called them in Ashcroft, but I did elsewhere when we were in business in the Lower Mainland, and I've used them, and yes, 30 to 50% is the general rule of law. If they didn't pay, I would put a mechanic's lien on the vehicle and or whatever the case was. If they don't pay in this case, is there a lien assigned to the property?
No. Sometimes we're able to, depending on our bylaw and legislation, sometimes we're able to put it to taxes. More often than not, no.
So there's no real teeth here. But on the flip side of that, on the progressive side of that, it may our collective bylaw officer more inclined to hand out a fine if he knows that it is going to be tackled by a collection agency, if I can use that term, on the other side.
And if I may, the T, it may not be that we can go after if they were still refusing to pay, but it does impact that person. Collection agencies
very-
absolutely affect.
Good catch. Thank you. There's the teeth. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. CFO Bella?
Your worship, we don't have many in town. We tend to go and work with people, and the ones which, have so-called teeth related to property, we can throw it on property taxes, which goes through the delinquency. So that has a huge hammer on that. So those ones, like snow removal, we can put it to taxes.
Right.
That ensures payment. So we don't have very many outstanding. We tend to work with people, if anything, quite flexible. Talking to people.
That all adds up.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. 7.3, CN Rail Safety Week 2026 proclamation request. I will move that Ashcroft proclaim September 21st to 27th Rail Safety Week in the village of Ashcroft, and that the mayor be authorized to sign the Rail Safety Week proclamation. Second by Councillor Tedford, thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? None opposed, that's carried. Small Talk Forum 2026, request for discussion topic or success stories. All right, do we have, first of all, does anyone have any things that they share with them? And if not, we can receive this for information, and then if someone has a brainwave, then we can always come back to it. CEO Dick, nothing had struck you?
Nothing struck me. It's hard to brag about yourself and the work that you do.
Of course not.
I don't know, but I'm open to suggestions.
Councillor Tedford and then Councillor Clement.
I think receiving and filing is a great option. I think that what is going to happen is that if this is a discussion topic for the next council, I think we're going to have lots of positivity out of the unfortunate situation in Clinton to speak of, i.e. we'll have an idea of how many people were housed here in town by that point. We'll have feedback on those kinds of stories, the community to the south type story. I just think we're too early for that right now to be presented at that forum, but I think we're going to have lunch next year.
Councillor Clement?
The only one that I can think of is potentially just the way that we've managed our water meter install. There's been a lot of way more negative information and reception to other communities, and I don't know if the way that we've handled everything and the transparency that we've had and the communications that we've done to mitigate problems would be a good discussion to have with other communities, because it's going to be something that the rest of the communities in BC have to tackle.
CFO Bala and then Councillor Tedford.
Statistically, how many we were successful and how far we moved, we are among the top communities, how we're managing, because I meet on a regular basis with all the communities on the pilot project and the researchers and everybody else. A fair bit of time goes into it, but we're moving ahead. We're also trying to work with people, again, drop the big hammer and charge them a lot of money for this. And now we're in the second phase. What I've realized is that you can't rush this thing. You have to keep hammering away and slowly whittle away. And it is yielding promising results in terms of how we are regarded in the provinces. And I'm sure it will lead to really positive results in requests for more grants related to water.
Councillor Tedford?
with all respect for what you're saying, we just discussed timeline before UBCM on something that would have potentially been easier, and that would put all kind of load on the administration to present, but to produce prior to UBCM and then submit. So again, I think that's a great idea, but I think it's an idea that might be more fruitful for next year.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Timeline is
Maybe.
tight.
So I didn't get the impression you were thinking for September.
No,
Oh, you
no,
weren't
but maybe,
thinking for this
not
year.
necessarily,
That's
no,
what
I
I
was
was
thinking like
sure.
kind of the only
Yeah.
project that I think that we have information that we could share to other communities to be a benefit. I highly doubt we could get that all together in the next month,
This was
but definitely start thinking about it, and maybe it's something we can present at Silga
I
and or
agree. This is
agree
just a
next year.
request for this year.
You know, and I think, yeah, I think the idea of presenting it at Silga in the spring
Yeah.
is good, to give it a test run, if you will.
Okay.
And then to then take that to the larger UBCM community in September, because this is something that other communities are going to be wrestling with. And I agree, I know Princeton has had a very, very, very hard time with it. Clearwater's going through that right now. Valemount, I think, had a very hard time.
Thanks, more pressure for me.
Yeah. You're welcome. We're giving you 13 months ahead, 14 months.
Just have a notepad next to you, and every time you think of
I'll help you
something.
build a dynamic PowerPoint.
Yes, look, just
That's
look
not
how
good
awesome
Parker,
one we
so.
just had.
No, that was all me.
I know.
Just have a notepad, and every time you think of something,
Yeah,
just put that in too. No, good suggestion. Yeah. And Ashcroft does have a good track record at UBCM. We've had some very well received presentations there, so. Yeah. All right, anything else? So we need a motion to receive this for information.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Clement, seconded by Councilor Tedford. All those in favor? None opposed, that's carried. And we move on to a plethora, if you will, of, oh, no, that's under new business, right?
Oh, I thought I put it under, okay.
So we have a plethora of 4 information items. Does anyone have anything here they want to break out of the information dungeon? I'll just mention that, of course, the TNRD, the alternative approval process, I think the threshold of AAP forms we had to have returned in order to feed it was 14,000, and we had fewer than 100. 83, and yeah, it was 86, and I think 3 were spoiled or incomplete. So that was, I think, a ringing endorsement for Calvin Search and Rescue. And I will notice that KSAR sent members to Clinton on Friday to go door to door to inform residents about evacuation order. So just to help the RCMP and other people who were there on the ground doing that. I mean, I know it's a small community, but that's still several hundred properties to visit if you factor in the TNRD Area E. Properties all around, so I think they said, I think there were a dozen or so KSAR people on their way to Clinton on Friday. So thank you to them for that. Anything else? All right, we have the task manager. Anyone have any comments on the task manager? No? All right, new business. We do have an item of new business. We have a letter from Ashcroft Terminal regarding rail safety and Operation Lifesaver, of which I am a committee member and have been. I signed up for it in 2019, and they just keep forgetting to take me off the list, so I'm still on Operation Lifesaver committee. It's a great initiative. It's really good. It's very popular with kids, especially because you have a number of things pitched at children of different age levels, from coloring books to pencils to notepads and things like that, and stickers, Thomas the Tank Engine. So very effective way of getting a message across to kids. They were at Silda in Merritt last year. Anyone have a motion to go with this? Are they asking for us to do what, for discussion? Do they?
My discussion, if I may, Jessica just randomly emailed to say, oh, I've noticed this is on your agenda. We always do something during Rail Safety Week, and we would be happy to collaborate with the village to make it just a bit bigger, better. So it could just be direction to staff to respond to her email, and so we would be happy to collaborate and make it a bigger community awareness.
Yeah, I think maybe do something in conjunction with what they do at the school. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. receive for information? See you there, is that okay? All right, so I'll move that we receive for information. Second by Councillor Davenport, discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. All right, we have no reports, recommendations from committees of the whole and commissions, council reports. There has been, the major thing from the TNRD at my last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, was the AAP passing for the Cannibal Search and Rescue. So now that goes to design stage, so hopefully they'll be able to get some shovels in the ground up there soon. It's a fantastic facility, especially if you look at the current picture of the basically two-car garage that they're operating out of at the moment, and the new facility is just night and day. So, anything else to report? No?
Oh, I do.
Oh, that's correct.
The next on the list. The last council meeting, I said that the Hawk meeting had been postponed, so they did have their annual general meeting. There was a slight change in who's on the board itself, just with one director changing. Carmen Renta is now a director. And then there have been changes made up at the UPCC. I don't know if anybody has been up there lately, but they are doing some renovations and shifting things around, and they are working towards utilizing what was formerly the clinic as part of the UPC space. So,
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything to report? Councillor February?
Councillor Davenport? A couple of things, please.
Yep.
First, before I forget, and my wife never forgives me, today was the start of the application process for the Thompson View residents. It's posted all over the place. I'm very proud of her. That's of them, the board as a whole. That's 6.5 or 7 years of intense work. And the process has started. It's posted all over town. There's an email address there to start the applications, and I know the phone is already ringing off the hook. So that's a fantastic thing. Second part of my report is just to quickly read through my verbal report about the open house with Warren Dirksen and Dan Levitt that happened back on June 23rd. Approximately 32 people attended at the hub for the presentation. Mr. Dirksen's opening remarks spoke to Don Tedford's petition regarding sidewalk and crossing safety, as well as the need for actuated doors and better access to business for people with mobility issues. The petition was left for the public to sign if they had not already done so, and at last count, the number of signatures on that petition that went with the MLA was approximately 100. He also, Mr. Dirksen also referenced some of the presentation topics that were going to be discussed: rural tax repeal on private property, medical and pharmaceutical issues, and again to the petition traffic issues. I never quite got there, but that's okay. The key speaker that day was Mr. Dan Levitt, the BC government seniors advocate, and he leads the independent provincial office in that particular independent provincial office. He opened his presentation with a discussion about the differences between aging and ageism. As he said, if two people were able to apply for a job, one male and one female, you would not be able to hire on the basis of sex. That would be illegal and turn sexism. If two people of different nationalities or religious affiliation were to apply for that job and one was hired on the basis of one way or the other, that would be called racism. However, there's no legal definition of discrimination against a person because of their age. There is, however, a legal Bill of Rights for seniors that's being developed in Geneva as we speak, which according to Mr. Levitt will likely be adopted in Canada in the future. There are over 1.1 million people over 65 in BC. That equals 20% of the adult population. And the life expectancy now is around 90 years for a female and slightly less for a male. 95% of the seniors live independently. 80% of them still live in their own homes. 15% are still in the workforce, and 40% of them are active volunteers. And yet, ageism, which equals discrimination by age, is rampant. Internal ageism is a person comparing their current abilities to the abilities they had yesteryear. Can't cut the lawn anymore, can't pick up my clothes, can't do my toes, and their self. They're internalizing those feelings and self-discriminating. Discrimination from the outside is example by not being able to get work or medical supports, etc., because of age. And they have a hard time controlling that. There is also social discrimination. I can't get served in the store. I'm overlooked by businesses for the better prospect of selling a product to younger persons. And another example, the mandating of driver's license starting at 80 years of age at the cost of the seniors. Not going to happen, except for new driver's licenses below that, maybe younger than that. His presentation was obviously tailored to the older crowd. He spoke of transportation, options and issues, housing and home support issues, income support, healthcare support, rural community supports that are not in place at this time. A few examples, and this was interesting. Housing and home support. With respect to housing and home support, 1 in 4 seniors live on less than $2,000 a month. The majority, median, live on $3,000 a month. That's 36 grand a year. The average Canadian worker makes approximately $60,000 a year, so seniors make essentially half, much, much less, and female seniors much less than that. And all the while, they volunteer the most. They carry the cost of home ownership and Medicare, and this leads to housing discrimination, with only 6% of seniors being able to find assisted rental accommodation in BC. Tied to that is the report of long-term care bed access, saying that we need 16,000 bed spaces currently. We have 8,000 more people than that on the list currently, and that wait is now an average of 10 months. Versus the most recent study, within the last 5 years, saying that wait period has gone from 5 to 10 months, 100% increase in wait time. Add to that the closure by our provincial government of 7 housing projects that were already cleared and under current build and development within our province. Scary. All the more, even though this isn't assisted living and this isn't long-term care, all the more kudos. He spoke of the income support portion of his presentation. He spoke about a program called SAFER, which puts a rental cap of 30% on your income if you earn less than $40,000 a year annually. Great thing for seniors to understand if they're in the rental market and aren't aware of that. The SAFER program can be accessed through Mr. Levitt's office. Another idea was tax deferral for homeowners. This is something that had never occurred to me, but you can legally defer your taxes with the example that if your home is worth $500,000 in assessed value, you can defer up to 20% of that value in taxes, $100,000 a year, and invest the deferred funds to live on. The person passes away, yeah, that's going to affect the children's inheritance. However, if the inheritance is spread out over 4 or 5 children, and they've given their parents the life ability to carry on and be in a good place, you're only talking about a $25,000 or a $30,000 or a $50,000, whatever the case is, divided by the number of people, as a survivor benefit, and then the tax ramifications on that for the inheritor. So there's lots of advantage in deferring your taxes. Again, they'll help you work through that at that office. On the healthcare front, there was discussion about the widening senior client to support of home worker or home supports, and with discussion regarding the average cost to have 1 hour a day of home care paid for by a senior person, which would average about $10,000 a year, or approximately 1/3 of the median income for an average senior to go for to have 1 hour of home care a day. That's cleaning, that's medical, that's eye drops, that's etc. So, if anybody is inclined, lobbying efforts are via the healthcare needs the Healthcare Needs Home Care Network, which is also something that can be explained through the Seniors Advocacy Office. As a little extra note, and I haven't picked up the book yet, he recommended a book called the 36-Hour Day, and everybody in the room that had read it, or the professionals in the room that had read it, were all nodding their head that, yeah, that was an eye-opener. So, his closing pointed out some poignant things. The perceptions, first, this was a big one, the perception that seniors cannot handle technology is incorrect. Primarily, it's the cost in keeping up with the expedient changes in devices that's inhibiting. In many cases, prohibitive. When you're speaking with seniors, do not use or try not to use the word still when you're speaking with them. It's derogatory, i.e., you still look good for your age, i.e., you still walk okay for your age, or you still drive. When people ask how old you are when you're getting to be my age or older, don't tell them. Give them the year of your birth. In my case, 1963. If they can't do the math, oh well, but it'll give you a really good idea who you're speaking to. Another final point was that true dementia only affects about 5% of seniors. The Alzheimer's Society has an amazing support system called First Link that is easily accessible. So the question and statement portion of the open house was cut short. Unfortunately, Mr. Levitt had to catch a flight back to his office. However, there were questions regarding the BC housing plans for the Catholic Church grounds in Cache Creek, also regarding the pharmacy hours and the recent closures on some days. Also with respect to the dispensing fees, and there's been some Facebook feedback about that as well, both positive and negative, and also regarding crosswalk markings and placements on our streets. Questions regarding the design issues at the south end of 97C Bridge, which we're all aware of, and I believe we have an audience potentially at UBCM to speak about, were a big part of it. And access to businesses not being particularly mobility friendly, i.e. paddles to open the doors, easily accessible ramps, etc. Both Mr. Levitt and Mr. Dirksen were very open to being contacted through their offices or directly, and they promised to listen with open ears. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions or comments? All right, thank you. He's only the second seniors advocate we've had. The first was Isabel McKenzie, who did an awesome job, and from everything I hear, Mr. Levitt is following in her footsteps and doing very well. All right, anyone else have any questions or comments on that or anything else? All right, where are we? We have no need to go into a closed meeting.